What's up guys, welcome back to the channel, and in this video we'll be talking about real estate and how you can build wealth in real estate really quickly. And this is by using a strategy known as the BRRRR strategy or BRRRR, depending on how you want to say it. And I'll explain what this is and how it works and how you can use it to build wealth in real estate really quickly in this video. But just before we get into that, I want you guys to check that link down below to Webull, where you can get 2 free stocks that can be valued at up to $1,650. And as a limited time offer, all you really have to do is to sign up for your Webull brokerage account and deposit $5 to get some free stocks. So if you haven't already done so, be sure to check that link, sign up and get some free stocks. And if you're new to the channel and this is the first time you're seeing me, my name is Eann, and on this channel I talk about ways to make money, ways to save money, ways to invest your money. I talk about bank accounts and credit cards and everything to do with personal finance. So if you like this video and you like these types of topics, be sure to give this video a thumbs up. I'll really appreciate it. It's 100% free and it helps the channel out a ton. And also consider subscribing with all the notifications on, and that way you never miss the updates of when I post new videos, which is every single day on this channel. So let's get back into the BRRRR strategy or BRRRR strategy. And BRRRR stands for buy, rehab, rent, refinance, and then repeat. Now there are a few requirements that you need to have to be able to pull this strategy off successfully. And the first thing that you need is a very good credit score. And you may be able to pull this off with, let's say, a 680 and higher, but ideally you want a credit score above 700 so you can get the best rates available to you when you actually go out there to purchase a home or property. Now, the next thing you need to pull this off is you're going to be needing a stable employment, or at least you should be able to prove that you have a consistent stream of income. And this could be a job or your business or probably even investments, but you have to prove that you have consistent income coming in every single month. And usually you need to have this for at least a year, if not 2 years. Now, thirdly, the final thing that you need to be able to pull this off is a good down payment. And you may actually be able to get away with less than 20% in some cases, but 20% down is ideal. And so if you're planning on doing this, you want to start saving towards that 20% off the first property that you're planning on purchasing. Now, you may be thinking, well, Eann, I could probably just do an FHA loan, and that way I don't have to put 20% down. I can put 3.5% down. I can still pull this off, and this is actually true. However, the problem with FHA loans and the BRRRR strategy is that FHA loans will cost you more because they have more fees tied in. And also with an FHA loan, you have to actually live in that property for at least a year before you can rent it. So you wouldn't be able to quickly rehab, rent, refinance, and then repeat, as it would take you much longer to be able to actually pull this off. Now, this is why saving a 20% down payment to pull this off is very important. If you don't have that, then you should start working towards saving that 20% down right now. Now, with that said, if you want to do the FHA, you could, and you can live in that house for a year, and then afterwards you could rent and refinance, but that's up to you to decide what you want to do here. So let's now get into how this strategy actually works and how it's going to help you to build wealth really quickly. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to buy some real estate property. However, you'll be buying real estate that isn't in the best condition because you want to be able to buy and rehab, and that way you'll get to build some equity really quickly in that property. So you can look for properties that look like this, that need a complete makeover inside out, and that's a lot of hard work. So you could also look for properties that are probably like this, where it doesn't require that much work and it mostly has cosmetic issues, which can be much easier to resolve than if you were to redo an entire home. Now, we're looking for a good area to purchase this property in, and a very good way to do this is to simply look for properties that are selling for below the average of other properties in that exact same area or exact same zip code. So a common saying that they have here is that you want to buy the worst looking home on the block or in the street and not the best looking home on that street. Now that way, when you rehab that home, you bring the aesthetics back to what the rest of the neighborhood actually is, and that way you could benefit from the increase in the value on that property. Now, if you purchase a home that looks the best of all the other houses in that neighborhood, then chances are you won't be able to refinance it for more because that area just doesn't require that amount of money for those properties. Also, we're looking at the payments on the property that you're planning to purchase. So you need to ensure that the payments will not exceed 1/4 of your monthly income, because you also have to factor in the possibility of the property not being completed on time, or you not being able to find a tenant on time and you having to stand the mortgage for a while, and that way you don't fall behind on your mortgage payments if you have to take care of it for yourself for a while. So if you're looking at the neighborhood and all the houses in the neighborhood are selling for between, let's say, $200,000 to $220,000, you definitely don't want to go and buy a house for $190,000 to do some rehab and then try to sell it for $250,000 or refinance it, because while you could pull that off, it's going to be much harder. So instead, if the houses are selling for between $200,000 to $220,000, then you want to find a house in the low 100s where you can comfortably do some rehab and still have room to refinance and actually walk away with some cash from that deal. Also, another strategy some real estate investors use is, instead of purchasing properties in the prime locations where they're going to cost a lot more, they will go 10 to 15 minutes outside of those prime locations and purchase properties for cheaper there. And that way, the people who work close to the expensive real estate will happily rent a property that is 10 to 15 minutes away if it's more affordable and if the property is also up to their standard of living. So if you're trying to buy some property and it's too expensive and you found a really good area, you could look 10 to 15 minutes outside of that area and find a much cheaper property. You'll still be able to get tenants for those properties because they will be willing to travel 10 minutes if it's more affordable and if the standard of living will be the same. Now, the next step here is the rehab step, and this actually looks very easy, especially if you watch a lot of HGTV. However, the problem with the rehab process is that there are lots of unforeseen issues that may pop up, and that may bring you way above your budget. And this is why you need to have some extra cash in your budget for rehab, for unforeseen problems that are going to pop up. And also, it really helps if you bring a contractor with you to look at the property, or probably even a friend or someone you know that knows about construction. And that way they can quickly identify some of the potential problems that you'll run into when you do your rehab that you may not be seeing while you're taking a look at the property on your own. So for instance, the previous homeowner may have made some additions or some simple modifications to the home, which may not be clearly visible to you or may not seem like an issue to you, but it could actually be a construction violation. If you bring a contractor with you, then they'll be easily able to point out these issues and help you realize that, hey, you're probably going to have to pay some fees or some fines here and then also get this fixed, or you're probably going to have to change the layout because it's not up to code. And then they can also give you an idea of how much more that will cost you. So the point here is to always bring an expert with you to evaluate the property and give you an idea of how much it will cost you to do the rehab, because a very accurate estimate will help you, because you don't want to purchase the property and then end up spending a lot more than you had planned. And then by the time you actually refinance, you realize that you don't have that much equity in the property anymore. Now, the next part of the strategy is getting rent, and this is obviously important. And of course, you want your rent to be more than your expenses for the property. So for instance, if you're paying $1,000 on the mortgage every single month and you're renting the property for $1,500 every single month, then that's great because you have $500 in profit per month. However, you want to also compare this to the 20% down payment that you made, because you don't want it to take you too long to get your money back and actually get returns on your investment. So if you added taxes, insurance, repairs, and maintenance, and all these other costs, and you realize that you were only making, let's say, $100 in profit per month, and you made a $50,000 deposit or down payment on the property initially, this would mean that you're now making only $1,200 per year in profit from this property. At this rate, it would take you around 41 years before you actually be able to break even and get back your initial down payment if you were only making $100 from the property every single month. So the point here is that you need to run the numbers and ensure that the expected rent that you're planning to make from this property is actually enough to cover all the expenses and also leave you with a good amount of profits where you can recover your initial investment and start getting returns in just a few years and not decades from now. Now, as a rule of thumb, if you're getting 7% or more back on your investment per year, that is also very good, because remember, you're building equity in the property at the same time by paying down the mortgage. So you're also getting a return on your investment from that. Now, the next step in this strategy is the refinancing step. Now, this is where you go back to the bank and they give you a loan based on how much equity you have in this property. So for instance, if you paid $120,000 for the property and you put $50,000 in rehab in that property, that would mean that you spent $170,000 in total. And let's say the property is now valued at $240,000. This means that you can get around 80% of the equity that you have, which is going to be around $70,000 in total. So you could probably walk away with around $56,000. And when you get that money, you will not use it to buy a car or go on a vacation or travel the world, but instead you want to use that money as a down payment on another property and repeat the entire process where you put 20% down on that property, you purchase it, you do the rehab, you rent, you refinance, and you keep doing this. And this is how you can buy multiple real estate properties very quickly. So comment below and let me know what you think about this strategy. Do you think this is actually a good strategy to use in 2021 and beyond to build wealth in real estate fast? Or do you think that there is some other strategy that is much better, right? Comment below and let me know what that is. And also guys, remember to give this video a thumbs up and also subscribe if you haven't already done so. And be sure to check the links down below in the description, especially that link to Webull where you can get your 2 free stocks by depositing $5 in your Webull account. And remember, this is a limited time offer, so be sure to take advantage of that. And with all that said, all the best with investing in real estate or any other investments that you're making right now. I hope you guys make a lot of money, and I will see you tomorrow in the next one.